You're going to ask the players how many laps they're running, what pin they're going in on. For TNT, again, we have that tag rule. If they catch the player in front of them, same thing with Trek Journey. You catch the team in front of you, you either pass them or tag them, they're out of the game. We ask that the players immediately move out of the playing area. The circle director will be saying, red, red, you're going to move out if it's the red team that got passed. Again, we're watching for that stiff arm, sending a team flying. Trek and Journey, if they fall to the ground, game over for them. TNT, they fall to the ground, get up, they keep running, as long as they've not been passed or tagged. But one of the things you might want to do is, if you're coaching kids, is teach them how to get around people that are on the ground on this game, because it happens all the time. And the classic complaint of coaches is, the team in front of me was so slow, that's why I didn't win the game, because the line judge didn't get them out of the way in time. It's called the breaks of the game. Everybody thinks they've got the fastest kids out there, and they're all upset about the slowest team always being in front of them. It's called the breaks of the game. It's tough. Teach your kids how to pass.
And on Trek Journey, knee touches the ground. Stumbling is one thing. If the knee doesn't touch the ground, we don't count it as a fall.
All right.
If the knee touches the ground or a hand touches the ground to catch yourself,
That's why Jonathan's going to be the circle director and make that call. Maybe Tim, but I don't want to be. All right. Tag rule, by hand, not a push. Tag moves out of the way. Failure to move, in other words, in three-legged race, if your kids get tagged and they don't get out of the way, they're not only disqualified because they got tagged, but they're also going to possibly lose their sportsmanship points if they're deliberately gumming up the game by being slow. Send somebody flying, yeah, you're going to be disqualified, you're going to lose your honor points. All right, tug of war. This little thing down here is for TNT, the number of heats for the different size teams. The ropes are different between TNT and the Trek and Journey rope. TNT rope is a round rope. They all start standing up, the rope's taut. The circle director may need your assistance getting the teams evenly spaced out there. The hands for TNT have to be together at the start of the game and during the game as much as possible. So my hands are like this, my partner's hands are just like this next to mine, all right? So what the circle director will be making this call, and if he sees a team reach out like this and start pulling, or their hands are way apart, he's going to say, get your hands back together, get your hands back together. He might say, blue, hands, 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 and be pointing at them. At that point, they need to get their hands back together. I've never had to disqualify somebody like this. I did threaten a kid once because he was willingly keeping his hands over here and pulling against his team. So I said, if you don't move your hands, I'm going to disqualify you. And he put his hands back. So as a line judge, we're going to be back here. We're going to be pushing the beanbag forward, and we'll kind of go over exactly how that beanbag is supposed to be placed at the meet, if you've got a question on that. The front of the beanbag is even with the front of that line. You're not trying to center, you're not trying to make it a triangle shape. The beanbag is square to that line, and we just move it up to the front of that line, if that makes sense. You're going to hear the horn, hopefully. It'll be louder than last year, where we had some problems with the system not being loud enough for us, but we'll get that going. I would suggest that you not be sitting on your backside as a line judge or on your knees in this game, because if somebody comes flying off the rope, they come flying back and they plow into you. In TNT, the coach can be back here where this X is, and it's only in TNT. They got to be behind the line. They got to be behind you as the line judge. You're watching for the beanbag being picked up by the hand, and that player that did that has at least one hand holding onto the rope for TNT. All right? Once that happens, you throw your hands in the air. The circle director is watching. They'll blow their whistle and stop the game. The game doesn't stop until the circle director blows their whistle. I've actually had this game, playing it once for TNT, and one of the teams came off the rope, grabbed the beanbag, threw it in the air, and the players all thought the other team had won, and they all let go of the rope, and everyone walked out of the circle. And the line judges didn't move a muscle because nobody had won the game. And when all of them walked out of the square, I ended the game, and nobody got points for the game. It's only happened one time that I've seen it. For Trek and Journey, the rope kind of looks like a four-legged spider, all right? You've got a center, or a three-legged for, but you've got, it's connected in the center, these things come out, the ropes come out, it's got a loop on the end, there's 2 players there on this one. They're hanging on for dear life. This is definitely the one where you need to be on your feet and off to the side when you're back here. Because if they come off that rope, all of a sudden you've got 400 pounds plus coming flying back at you. So you need to be to the side so you don't get plowed over. There's a lot, the older kids playing this game is a blast to watch. What else? That's about it. I think we've seen the game enough, we know how it's played. All right, let's jump on. Sprint marathon race, there's no tag rule. The number of laps varies between whether it's the older kids and the younger kids. Check the rule book on that. It's a sprint race, it's as fast as you can run, and there's no tag rule, but there is a passing rule, right? So if I catch the runner in front of me, I just tap them on the shoulder, they yield the inside lane, and I continue on. That one I think is an easy one. This is an easy one. The only thing you're doing as a line judge is you're counting the number of laps. Are we supposed to be done at 8:15?
8:20.
8:20, all right. I got seconds. All right, balloon volley. Balloon volley is only TNT. It's mass confusion on this one. You're just watching as a line judge the line, and any part of the balloon crosses the line, you signal that it's over. The circle director will toss the balloon in the air at the start. The players can be anywhere in that circle at the start of the game. If they all want to load up in one quadrant, doesn't matter. If they want to put both their kids in the center, doesn't matter. It's first come, first serve to the center. So you want them to get their kids out there quick. The circle director is the one that makes the calls on unnecessary roughness. If there's pushing going on, they're the one that's going to do it. The game ends when the circle director blows the whistle. When he sees you as a line judge, signal that it's over. All right? We don't play this game for the older kids. Beanbag Bonanza is a lot like the Sparky In and Out, except this one goes a million times faster. They start with the beanbag on the line. The first player runs in, switches it in the center, comes back, hands it to the next, and continues on one time through. The player closest to their pin runs in, switches it, hands it off to the first player, and the play continues to the last player, who then runs straight in for the pin. Where do they disqualify? They're jumping over the line early. They're not putting the beanbag in the triangle. They're not placing the beanbag on the ground. Placing the beanbag on the ground means if this is the ground, my hand's not here, okay? My hand is down here, placing it. And you're standing in such a way that you watch them. You're not moving with them, except on the second time through. You just stand here, you watch it, they come back around. At that point, you're kind of walking with them and keeping an eye, and you're watching their feet. So you watch the feet on the line to pass there, and then you look over here and you make sure it got placed properly. You watch the feet over here to make sure nobody jumped the line early. This game is over with fast. They are evenly spaced. This is my point where I get like crazy as a circle director, when they're not evenly spaced. There's 5 kids, so that third kid is right square in the middle, and they're 1 arm length apart. 1 arm length is 1 arm, not me going like this and the next kid going like this, and we're fingertip to fingertip. It's put their 1 arm out, and it should be touching the shoulder of the person next to them. All right, they do not have to place the beanbag in a certain part of the triangle. It's just any part of the triangle. If any part of it is outside the triangle, game over. And I think you're not supposed to cross this line back here, right? So if they are stepping outside of the square to get themselves a running start, that's a disqualification. All right, agility race is lots of pins. They're running in and out. Anytime a pin gets knocked over, it's game over. You're watching the pins over here. If you're standing here, if you're here, you're watching these pins.
If a pin does get knocked over, you're going for the pin should be. Because
So
we're not going to be able to put, yeah,
No.
The only person who sets up a pin back up is the circle director.
yeah.
If a pin gets knocked over, the player has to pretend the pin is still there in that spot. And if they run the inside of it and they say, oh, the pin wasn't there, that's the coach's job to teach them how to play the game. All right, what do we got left? Balloon relay.
Easy.
This is the easiest game. This is actually my favorite game out of all the A1 games. This is the line judge training. So you're good.
I'm here for study. I didn't want to.
No problem, no problem. I didn't want you to think that you stepped in like an hour late.
Oh.
There's 3 zones. We've got the front line up there, and the zone sizes are different between the TNT and Trek and Journey. Trek and Journey, they give them a lot more space because they're a lot bigger. In TNT, let's just explain, you got the 5 kids there. 1 kid is in zone 1, 1 kid is in zone 5. At the start of the game, everybody's straddling the line. After that, the only people that have to straddle the line are the first and last players when they receive the balloon or hand the balloon off. Okay? The balloon pops at any time, game's over. So the only people that can disqualify you are in the front line and the back line. If the foot's behind it or in front of it when they receive or let go of the balloon. Game is done with by really, really good teams, 10 seconds, less. Teams that are atrocious, again, you could time them with the sundial. Trek and Journey, they have to be evenly spaced between the front and the back line, those 3 players, right? And everyone has to touch the balloon, okay? Not touch it like bat it, like have it in their possession. That's only Trek and Journey. This one, if the teams know what they're doing, it looks fantastic. If they don't, it just looks like a bunch of stumble bumps out there, all right? And that was the last game. And there's a picture of me 20 years ago. But let's end with a word of prayer, and then we'll get on in a few minutes to the other kids' training. Dear Lord, thank you so much for the people that are here and the people that are online, and the line judges that we're going to have this year, Lord. I ask that you help them to know the rules, Lord, to be an example.